Welcome to the Natural Way of Being video blog. This video is titled, Belonging Starts Inside You. So the first step to feeling a sense of belonging or feeling like you belong in a given experience is realizing that you belong there. Because at the most essential, the deepest spiritual level of things, you belong wherever you are. Because spiritually, you're part of wherever you are. You're part of life. You're part of everything in life. So you're part of the experience you're in. So how could you not belong there? In my tradition, we call this turtle medicine. Now, the metaphor or the symbolism of the turtle is, we'll say, she carries her shell or her home on her back. So wherever she is, she's at home. She belongs. Now, the other people in the experience may not realize you belong. You may not feel like you belong. And the space that you're in, the experience you're in, may or may not even be a good place for you to be. It may or may not be a beneficial place for you to be. But just know that underneath all that, you belong there simply because you're there and because you're a part of all that is. You're a part of that experience. Most of us have some type of conditioning that tells us that we don't belong. In fact, everyone I've ever met, has got some type of signals in childhood or somewhere that they don't belong. And so what we tend to do is we carry this belief, this I don't belong belief, we'll call it, we carry it around us like a bubble. Okay, and it kind of filters, like we're kind of looking through this filter of I don't belong in whatever experience we're in. So then it starts shading that experience. So then this is the work, right? Is the work either through therapy or meditating a lot or coaching or some type of healing work or an exorcism or whatever you do, it's getting to kind of clear that bubble so you can see things clearly. And you're no longer seeing from the place of I don't belong. So then when you get in an experience, you can pull that sense of belonging up, that feeling and that truth, that knowing that you belong. You can access that space. And then you realize that, I belong here, even if it doesn't feel like you belong. Because once you realize that you belong in an experience, everything changes. You start acting differently. People sense you in a different way. They can feel the energy of you belonging there. So once you realize you belong, often the other people in the experience, they realize you belong there too. Or maybe they don't, but still, it's important that somebody knows, that being you, that you belong in that experience. Because once you realize that you belong in an experience and realize it from inside yourself, okay, then you can see that experience clearly. In other words, you're no longer seeing through the veil, through the bubble of I don't belong. That clears so you can see the experience clearly, without being filtered, and then you can kind of sniff around and look around. It's like, okay, how do I feel in this experience? Is this experience inviting? Does it feel welcoming? Am I enjoying this experience? Am I drawn to it, or am I repelled by it? Am I like, run away? Like what that now we can our instincts and our intuition can now come online because it's not shrouded by our bubble anymore. So we can now get a clear sense of how I belong in this experience. Now, just because you belong in an experience doesn't mean you need to stay there. It doesn't even mean that it's a good place for you. But now you get a choice. because you're seeing it clearly. You no longer are looking at it from the I don't belong. You're seeing the experience clearly, and you can make a free choice on whether to stay and be part of the experience or whether to leave. But if you do choose to stay or to leave, do it on your own terms. Do it because you decided you wanted to be there or not be there. Not because you felt like you didn't belong or you weren't invited or you were rejected. Do it on your terms, saying, you know what, I could stay here, but I choose to leave. Or I can stay here and I'm choosing to stay and be part of this experience. So anyway, that is my video blog for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a really enjoyable week realizing that you belong in all the experiences that you're in. And thanks so much. I'll see you in a week.